Hi, I'm Tom Sokolowski of Wisdom Nutrition. So toxins you are exposed to on a daily basis could be driving your inflammation, fatigue, insomnia, depression, and interfering with hormones to reduce your sexual function, libido and fertility, and cause weight gain and much more. In this video and over the next 5 videos in this series on reducing inflammation, you'll find out more about the impact of toxins and how to reduce this impact and reduce inflammation. The reason you need to detox to reduce inflammation is because toxins are themselves another trigger of the inflammatory response. In recent decades, over 100,000 new chemicals have been released into the environment and used in consumer products, many of which are toxic and will therefore be contributing to your burden of inflammation. Inflammation results in tissue destruction and the formation of free radicals. So free radicals are molecules that are particularly reactive, so they can further damage and permanently impair the function of proteins, DNA and lipids and cause disease, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease and autoimmune disease. You can learn more about free radicals by reading the post linked to in the description below. But briefly, free radicals are kept in check by antioxidants and thus are an important factor in aging. And disease is the balance between free radicals and antioxidants in a sense. So when free radicals overwhelm the antioxidant defense system, we have what is known as oxidative stress, which can impair proper physiologic function. So inflammation results in the production of free radicals, but toxins also result in the production of free radicals and thus increase the risk of oxidative stress. Both inflammation and toxins will therefore deplete your antioxidant reserve, but antioxidants are also needed for detoxification, so detox is impaired by inflammation. Therefore, we need to reduce inflammation to enable detoxification, and we also need to detox to reduce inflammation. Some toxins also mimic hormones and thus interfere with hormone signaling by binding to hormone receptors. These are the endocrine disrupting chemicals and are found in plastics, pesticides, cosmetics, flame retardants, surfactants, sunscreens and personal care products, and these have been studied for their negative effects on fertility, premature puberty, endometriosis, heart disease, autoimmune disease, ADHD, asthma and other conditions. Besides triggering inflammation directly, some toxins, known as obesogens, may be a cause of weight gain and obesity. Many toxins are fat soluble and fat tissue is a major storage site for toxins to accumulate. This may have the advantage of safely storing the toxins away from other tissues, although total body burden may be increased. If you then lose weight too quickly, the toxins are released into general circulation, and this can have huge impacts on health. In fact, there's some evidence that in elderly individuals with a higher body burden of bioaccumulated toxins, weight loss is actually associated with increased mortality. Some of these toxins are not easily metabolized and can bioaccumulate in fat tissue over the years. Bioaccumulation meaning that the rate of toxin excretion does not match the rate of incoming toxins that are then stored in the body in ever-increasing amounts. The bioaccumulated toxins can then be a key driver of obesity, and the effect is more pronounced in individuals with less active detox enzymes due to their genetic makeup. You'll also see in a later video how foods can impact the activity of detoxification enzymes and other ways in which you can safely increase detoxification. Many endocrine disrupting chemicals are obesogens, which makes sense when you understand that fat tissue is itself an endocrine organ, which means that it responds to hormonal signaling and also secretes hormones, especially hormones that affect energy balance and metabolism. Endocrine disrupting chemicals can alter the programming of fat cell development, increase storage in fat tissue, and interfere with the signaling of hormones, regulating appetite and satiety. So if you're finding it difficult to lose weight, a toxic burden could be at play. Fat tissue also secretes inflammatory signaling molecules, and obesity can be viewed as a state of chronic low-grade inflammation. So losing fat mass whilst preserving muscle mass will be of great help in reducing your burden of inflammation. Many of the 10 steps to reduce inflammation covered in this series are also key to losing weight. When you have more fat tissue, there is another consequence. Some obesogens bind to and activate estrogen receptors and so have an estrogenic effect. This can compound the estrogenic effect of having excess fat tissue, which increases estrogen because it increases levels of an enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. In women, this may be the reason why being overweight is linked with an increased risk of breast cancer, with overweight or obese postmenopausal women having 3 times the risk of breast cancer compared to postmenopausal women of normal weight. In men, the increased estrogen and reduced testosterone levels have been linked with insulin resistance, loss of muscle and bone mass, increased blood pressure, and risk of heart disease, fatigue, insomnia, depression, and erectile dysfunction, all of which we often put down to aging. Obesity also appears to increase the conversion of testosterone into estrogen in the prostate gland and may thus drive prostate enlargement so common in men as they age. So you can already see how much could potentially be gained from safe detox to reduce inflammation, lose weight, and balance your hormones. So how can you reduce your toxic burden? This is a huge subject in itself that I'm just beginning to cover in the rest of this video. You could start with the most obvious changes you can make, which would be to minimise your exposure to alcohol, cigarette smoke, and chemical fumes such as car exhaust as much as possible. Another sometimes obvious exposure is to mould. Mycotoxins, that is, toxins from microfungi such as molds and mildews, are known to bioaccumulate and can continue to have a negative impact until they are detoxified. Whereas the initial exposure can often be obvious if the mould is clearly visible in your home or workplace, you may need to consider exposures from earlier in life as part of your detox to reduce inflammation. I have worked with clients for whom we detected a burden of mycotoxins apparently from mould they were exposed to decades previously. Inflammation and oxidative stress in any part of the body could be caused by mycotoxin exposure. Mycotoxin exposure is a known driver of Alzheimer's disease progression. So Alzheimer's disease has been categorised into 3 subtypes, one of which is primarily driven by inflammation and another by a toxic burden. Because of the relationship between inflammation and detoxification, you can see there will be much overlap between these 2 subtypes, and any Alzheimer's disease prevention program should involve detox to reduce inflammation. Mycotoxins can cause leaky gut, gut dysbiosis, that's an imbalance or overgrowth of gut flora, and there's some evidence they may play a role in triggering and exacerbating inflammatory bowel disease and may play a role in autoimmune disease, as well as having estrogenic and anti-androgenic endocrine disrupting properties. The mould exposure often comes from water-damaged buildings and can cause headaches, respiratory complaints, fatigue, cough, irritation of the eyes and skin, weight gain and joint pain. People living or working in damp buildings have been found to have an increased risk of respiratory infections, asthma, bronchitis, impaired immune function and severe fatigue. Mycotoxins can also be found in contaminated foods such as nuts, seeds, grains, fruit and dairy produce. So the key take home here is that if you are being exposed to a significant amount of mould in your workplace or at home, you need to do what you can to reduce your exposure and then make the dietary and lifestyle changes from a later video I will describe in to eliminate the mycotoxins over time. In the next video I will discuss toxins in plastics, including hidden plastics you may not even know you are being exposed to. If you enjoy this video, please share, like and subscribe, and then click on the notification bell to catch all the videos as they're released. Thank you for watching.